Geeky Brummie.
Hello everyone, my name's Lee and I'm here with Shanice at the UK Games Expo. What are we doing here, Shanice?
Well, Lee, what we're doing is we're going to be looking at some amazing inventors, some dashing exhibitors, and seeing what the lowdown is on the new games going on, just to keep it geeky.
Yeah, as always, and we should have a really good time.
Yeah, hopefully guys, we'll show you some really cool content. Stay tuned in and see what it's about. We're at Geeky Brummie podcast today, talking to James from Asmodee and some of the new games can be getting released for them. So James, can you tell us a little bit about Marvel Dice Throne?
Yeah, of course. So it's a reskinning of the original Dice Throne. However, they have updated the mechanics and bits and pieces on those lines. So essentially, the aim of the game is that you have essentially a duel. So you will pick one of the two characters, and they're all self-contained in the box. So it'll be Loki versus Thor in this one. Essentially, the way that you play the game is it's quite simple. You roll the dice, and you get 3 rolls. Oh, that's interesting. I've rolled all hammers. So you get 3 rolls, and essentially that will match up to a move that you can do on here. Okay, so for example, by rolling 5 of Thor's hammers, I can do this move. Essentially, if you get more sets, the more powerful moves you're going to be doing. If you get various different combos, you're going to be doing different moves. You might be able to heal, you might be able to do a little bit more damage, these types of things. So basically, the other player as well will have some defensive abilities as well as part of that, so they'll be able to negate a little bit of damage, try and deflect it, something along those lines. What you can also do is you'll get some resources, essentially per turn, and also these will give you resources as well, and you'll be able to buy extra ability cards that can obviously change and mix up the game.
That one already looks amazing. Stormbreak. Sorry.
But yeah, it's actually a really quite simple premise, but it's really like elegant in the way that you can have a one-on-one game. There is actually rules for a 3-player game. There's also rules for a 4-player game as well. So they have mixed it up quite a lot. But as you can see, there is various different size, different sets. You've got obviously 4 different characters in this one, and all you do just have expansions. I say expansions, they're standalone.
With Black
things.
Panther, Captain Marvel, Black Widow, and Doctor Strange. How very cool! How very, very cool. Okay, sound. And what's this other game that you've got called Yak?
So Yak, yes. So essentially, Yak. What you're trying to do is you're trying to build a monument, or a tower, or a pyramid, essentially. So what you have is you've got these series of different stones. Depending on how you stack them up, you'll get different points. So if you stack them upwards and they're all touching, you'll get points for that. If you get lines of the same colours, you'll get points for that as well. So you can do different combos with that to try and maximise your points. Essentially, on your turn, you'll have a series of cards that you can play. So each player has their own set of cards. These yaks will literally go round the board, as you can see, they're on wheels.
That's such a lovely dynamic of a game, moving around like this. The meeples of it are fantastic. Wait, when they should be called beefles, buffalo meeples.
Yeah, you can go with that. That is actually the first player token as well, which is super cute.
Oh, it's lovely.
So essentially, just in short, you're trying to go around, you're trying to get these specific bricks, so you can obviously get the combo points as best you can. But obviously you've got no control of these because these don't belong to you, they belong to each player. So once this arrives in front of me, I've got access to buying or trading for these specific blocks.
Oh, okay? That's lovely.
So I can't buy from over here, I can't trade from over here, I can only trade from what's in front of me.
It's only when it comes to your county, your village, is when it's available to you.
Yeah, spot on, exactly, that's the idea. Yeah. So what I'll do is, essentially you've got your resources to trade with, and that's how you get a hold of resources. You can get the ones from the middle, and that will allow you to pick up obviously these different resources from here. But there are some things you can do, like you can change around. Once this is empty, you then have an option to refill it. So then you pull from here, and then you'll refill it back up. However, if you get this one, it represents fog, and they get confused, they end up turning around and they go back the other way.
Oh.
So you can plan as much as you like, but they might just turn the other way. Exactly. But yeah, there's a few things, so only certain vehicles will trade certain things. So for example, this one won't take milk, so you won't be able to trade with that yak for milk or anything like that. They won't won't take it. And same with that one, they won't
No
take it for
bread.
bread or anything along those lines.
Yeah.
So
That's cracking. It's a really visually nice game.
it's really nicely put together. Yeah.
And is this already being released then?
Yes, so this has been released. Yeah, this is done by Crystal Games. So.
Yeah. Okay, no, they're cracking. Thank you, James.
No
It's
worries.
been lovely. One of the pieces of content that we've got here today at the UK Games Expo for Geeky Brummie is the beautiful, wonderful Sinister Fish Games, which have developed a new game called Moon. We're here with, what's your name, sorry? Nick?
Nick.
Okay, so are you the publisher or the
So
inventor?
I work for the publisher. I've done development on Moon and Honk, but I only started in September. My second day was Wokson pitching us Moon, so that was a good second day.
Yeah, no, cracking. So can you explain a bit of the game to us? So
Yes.
somebody who has no idea about this kind of gameplay,
Okay.
something simple, something that they'd understand.
Yeah, so it's what we call card drafting from the hand. So if you've played Seven Wonders or Sushi Go, you have a hand of cards. You're going to pick one that you either discard, which we call assimilate for a reward, which is next to the bin icon, or you play it to your tableau if you can play the cost, or you play it to your base. You are trying to build the best space base that becomes the most popular back on Earth, so it becomes the first capital of the moon. You'll be building blue cards, which give you resources when you build them, and at the start of every era you're going to run your resources, so you'll get everything on your blue cards, and cards will cost resources to build sometimes. You're also going to be building yellow cards directly into your base, and they give you flags, which is like the flavour of your base. So this is construction and food, and we've got food and transport and housing down there. The interesting thing with this is sometimes cards will require a flag, but you have to spend a resource. So I can spend this biomass to build the food truck, but I don't have a housing flag.
He doesn't have a house flag.
In my base, but I do have a spare rover, so I can send my rover over to this player's base, park it in a free garage. So if both of those are taken, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And then I get access to that flag for that turn. So now I can build this food truck, which is a very good Era 1 card, by the way, because it has 2 flags on. Not many cards in Era 1 have 2 things on. So that is a kind of mini worker placement. The downside of this is now player 2 has 3 rovers.
So you sacrifice a rover for
they will
domination
get
of your base.
off their card at the end of the era, but during the scoring at the end of the era, we score for the most flags. So if we had a tie in flags, so let's say they'd built this one instead, we both have 1 food flag. They have the most rovers, so they're going to win the tie and get the points for the tiebreaker. We can also build grey cards, which are scoring cards, and if you've played villagers during the game, they will get hearts put on them, and at the end of every era you don't take the hearts off, you just take hearts from the resource and add them to your supply, hearts representing the popularity. And then we have action cards, which you'll build separate to your base, but they're part of your settlement, and then you flip them over to take the action on them. As the game goes on, these cards get better as they go, so it's not the toilet producing biomass in Era 3, it's moon fungi. And then we also have these reputation cards, which are like objectives. The other slight difference to other drafting games is you're going to have 1 card in your hand called an Expedition Leader, which is undraftable, so you cannot play that to the table. But while it's in your hand, they all have different powers that you can use while it's in your hand.
And can we just appreciate some of the wicked design characters here? This must be one of my favourites automatically.
And we also have our first wheelchair user in a Sinister Fish game here as well on the hackerspace. So that's our first wheelchair user there.
Wicked, all inclusive, I like it.
Yeah. So.
Okay, and you've got some other game releases here. So you've got Honk, which looks funky as days.
It's a family game.
Yeah.
For kids from the age of 5 to 12 have been loving this. It kind of teaches a bit of future planning and Ticket to Ride style card play. So on your turn you either take 2 cards, but they must be different colours, or you feed a goose. If you feed a goose, you discard those cards back to the pile, but you can only feed one that isn't covered by another goose. So this one here, just a little bit of a tail, but that's enough. So let's say we had 2 green cards, we'd feed this one, we uncovered a golden egg, we'd get that. We get a normal egg, which is worth 1 point. Golden eggs could be anything between 1 and 3. We've looked out there, we've got a 3-pointer. But then we also look at the geese we've already fed. For every goose that is the same as that type, we get another egg. So you're encouraged to feed geese of the same type. Older kids start looking ahead. They realise that someone else is going to feed that goose before them, so they start looking underneath to do it. That's coming straight to retail in August, September time.
Okay.
Great
So
Scottish
August, September for Honk.
a reprint of the first game that Sinister Fish took to Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So that's by the boss, Dave. And that is a game of, again, hand drafting to make silly, I'm still trying to build it, I haven't had time yet, but you're making silly sentences with, each will have an initial concept, an asset, a central concept, an asset, and then a final concept. And this has all the Kickstarter extras in, so you're trying to match the types as well if you want.
So you like Braggart? Yes, exactly like Braggart. Yeah. So Sinister Fish. Then you have a new game coming out called Moon.
Moon in July.
Honk in August,
Honk
which
in
sounds amazing. Honk.
Shifting seasons for villagers.
For villagers, very nice, simplistic styles.
At the stand. It's fulfilling now, but our backers said we could sell it here. So
Easy.
we're selling that.
That's wicked.
If people are at the expo, they can get, because we'd hoped to have this shipped here, but we've got a QR code that you can scan to get a pre-order with free shipping, because we're disappointed we didn't have it here.
Yeah.
So this one is,
That's cracking.
The original plan was we wanted to make a game which didn't make any sense. Okay, we were like, let's just make a card game in an evening.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like a weird inside joke.
Yeah.
And then as we were going, we were like, actually, this kind of works.
It's actually quite good.
There is a game here.
Were you stoned at the time?
No.
We had about 10 cups of tea.
It sounds like
That same thing. You were drunk. You were high on herb.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
but then we were like, oh, the game's working, but we still want that kind of weirdness.
Yeah.
So we were
weird
like,
is funky, weird is kooky, weird is what you're aiming for,
so
isn't
we want
it?
it to feel like it's badly translated. Do you know one of those badly translated games?
Yeah.
So we've got like things like Shuffling Skeleton. There's a satchel called Obviously Satchel.
Yeah.
I just think like you look at that like that's
It's not quite right.
that's been translated wrong. Well, no, that's kind of the joke now. It's just it's one of those, you know.
Yeah, it's
Which
the
is-
silliest, it's the internal, you're just like, what? Oh, that's weird. Yeah, no, this is cracking. So can you tell us a little bit about the game though? Just like a little 2-minute pop on how it works for people if they don't know how to do board games, if they don't know how to do card games.
Yeah, you can do the spiel first.
Yeah?
Okay, cool.
Sorry, I feel like you've had to do it 1,000 times
Yes.
already, haven't you? Only 3 times. Feels like 1,000.
Yeah, it feels like
Okay?
that's
So
fine.
yeah, a quick comprehensive understanding of the game, because this looks really visually pleasing.
Oh, thank you. Great.
Yeah.
I did the artwork, so that's very nice.
Yes, man.
Okay.
Solid artist.
Cool. Yeah, so it's like a tactical card game. So you start with a set of 5 cards and then like an extra leader card. So these kind of give you bonuses. And the way that it works is you want to get the best combination of cards that you possibly can.
Yeah.
And so, we call your hand a party, and then but cards in your party are affected by people in other people's parties. And we have a discard area which we call the market, which also affects cards in your hand and also affects other people's parties. So it's like really like you've got to keep an eye on everything that's possibly going on.
You can't be selfish and just be like, I'm going to fucking mess everyone
Exactly.
over.
Yeah. So like a lot of other card games, you just want to make sure that you're aware of what you've got in your hand. Whereas this has got to make sure you know what the market. You've got to watch what people are picking up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because you might put down a card because the kind of the mechanics of the game works is you pick one card up, you put one down. So you can either take one blind from the deck or you can take one from the market.
Yeah.
And so you might put down a card that someone like really wants because it pairs really well with cards that they've got. But then again, you might have a card in your hand that screws them over.
Yeah.
So it's like
So you're getting a right deserving slap in the face for every move that you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sound? Because already I can see there's one, the Haunted Boombox.
Yes.
The Storm Fury Great Sword.
Yeah.
Lorgnack. Yeah. Explosive Sugar Cubes. I feel like that one was you, I don't know why. It's Explosive Sugar Cubes, you. Yeah. Oh, that's cute, I like that. A little bit violent, a little bit sweet. There we go. Yeah. No, that's sweet, man. No, guys, this is really funky. I'm really like this, like your general, like the green theme, the Viking-esque.
Super green. We've got a stall over at Hall 1 as well, and it's just super. It's just saturated.
That's how I want my home to be at all points. It's just a solid green, just be one with the earth. Is that where like the colour code came from? You were just like...
Well, it kind of came from the name Grove, because we kind of settled on, like, obviously Grove, and then it came with those green sort of, like, you know, woodlandy kind of themes and colours and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I think the initial kind of thing was like, it's a woodland battle game. So it's just like, okay, how does that look in, like, themes and like colours and design, and like the logo, it's just like, yeah, it's trees and arrows and
It
spears
looks
and stuff
beautiful.
like that.
So wait, is this like your first game then?
The first card game.
It's your first card game,
yeah.
and you're completely independent together as mates.
Yeah.
Okay, so Grove is called the game. What's your publisher's called then? What would you say your publishing name is?
So we're Wokson Studios.
That's us.
What? Wokson Studios. Okay, independent game studio. Cool. So, how long have you been developing this game for?
Since November.
November? Is that it?
Yeah.
Dude, no, you guys rocked on. It's only like June, dear. Like, this is very impressive.
We've got more plans.
Yes.
There's like at least 2 expansions in the works already.
Oh my god, yes. I love a good expansion. Make it bigger, make it unnecessarily bigger. Yes.
My name is Lawrence O'Brien.
Hello, Lawrence O'Brien.
And your name is?
Shanice, part of the Geeky Brummie podcast. So, you've obviously had this amazing game that I've wanted everyone to talk about immediately. So it's called Brexit, the real deal. Please, Can you tell us a little bit about the game?
Well, we found that leaving the EU didn't resolve all our problems. So the United Kingdom has decided to leave the United Kingdom. So in that you get to play as either Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, England or Cornwall. And you get a chance to make any of those great again.
Who do you think is the greatest?
I couldn't possibly comment. That would be
Biased as the creator.
yeah. I'd get to work on that. It'd be unwise.
Oh,
But as
true.
the publisher, the creator is merely feet away.
Oh God! So you need to come into this as well,
Come on.
dearie?
Come on.
Are you sure?
Be brave. Right.
We could do it with the camera off.
Oh,
That's not an invitation.
I am taking that line away. That's the best line so far. You can do that with
Yes.
the camera off.
Okay, so what's your name though before we carry on? Russell. So, do you mind if Lawrence talks on behalf of you, Russell?
I'm allowed to because they've
So,
published it.
behind camera, we do have Russell, the game developer, the game maker, and here we have the publisher.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right. So in that, it's basically a trade game. You have a hidden agenda where you have to basically win certain numbers of trade deals. So maybe you want to go back into the EU. So you want EU countries in trade deals. Or maybe you want to be a greater Commonwealth, in which case you want Commonwealth countries. And what you do is you blind bid against trade deals for values. So I'm going to bet my travel, or I'm going to bet my cheese because I have cheddar.
Oh.
But at the same time, someone else can just stitch your deal. They just crash your deal and ruin your opportunities.
Ah, I
So
love
it's a bit backstabby. In fact, it's
Like
entirely
most people.
backstabby. Entirely
Yeah.
backstabby.
Which is
Yeah.
very apt. I like it.
Yeah.
I love
Well, we
that
did
a
spend
lot.
350 million in development.
I like that. That was worth it. Yeah.
Now,
Them?
but laying the cards down and doing the deals and actually resolving those deals is determined by who holds the bus.
The little red bus.
Well, you know, if you're going to deliver something like Brexit, you want a bus, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. So that's what we use as a counter. So in that, you basically keep doing that, working on deals, stealing them from other people, swapping deals between other players to
Yeah.
ruin their lives, ruin their games. Their lives is a bit more complicated.
Yeah.
And so that at the end that you win, and you win against your hidden agenda, and huzzah, you then win Brexit, the real
And
deal.
it looks fantastic,
It's good
simple, clean. I
Yep.
really like it. It's really funky. So obviously, you as the publisher took on the game from Russell. So what about the game enticed you to essentially publish
Actually, it was the other way round. So what we did is me and Russell met up and we were swapping games. He was swapping Survive 1 month in, which is an excellent game and I love it. I still used to, but I love it. And I was swapping with him War of the Nine Realms.
Yeah.
Right? It was good fun. But at the same time, we were sitting there going, zombie apocalypse. Brexit. Maybe we should make a Brexit game. So we sat round, this is part of the 350 million, is we sat round and went, okay, let's make a game about Brexit. because there's got to be a joke in there somewhere other than itself, right?
Yeah.
And in that, we did Brexit the real deal.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you.
No, you're very welcome.
Thank you, Lawrence. That's been absolutely smashing.
Thanks
Cool.
for taking the time.
Cool. Geeky Brummie podcast. This time we've got Chris Lighthouse and his own independently published game. Chris, can you tell us a bit about this visually very pleasing game?
Okay, so this is Devoured, and this is a solo adventure game, like a solo narrative game, almost like a deconstructed book. So if you imagine a book, just take all the pages out and throw them into a board game or a card game. So basically what you do, if I just find the first card, because you kind of surprised me. Okay, so basically the whole game starts off with your middle card, and each there's 6 levels, and each level has a starting card. And you'll basically flick that level card over, and it'll be, first level is Belly of the Beast.
Belly of the Beast.
And you'll have some narrative there, and you'll read this narrative, and then on the narrative card you'll have some directions you can go. So basically what you've got to do, choose a direction. Where do you want to go?
We want to go right.
Okay, right. You're right.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So you'd flick that card over, and straight away you'd read that piece of narrative. And this one, not a great start because you've lost one of your spirit.
Oh, we lost a
cubes
spirit already, guys.
Okay.
Mine, Will to Live's just gone out the window.
So basically on here you have your Valor and Vice boards. On your Valor board you have your spirits, and you have your mind, body and spirit cubes, and they're basically like your energy cubes of the game. So you've lost one of those, so that would instantly go into your tray. And then you'd read the narrative, and then this card would be placed back into the middle, excuse me, and then you'd have, you can only go one direction in this one, up and down.
So it's taking the original PC, like the moving forward game, where you go left, right, you take a key, go to a back, but doing it in a
very much like an old school retro sort of
That's
adventure
genius.
game.
With these illustration styles as well. Oh, sorry, I keep veering over.
Okay, that's another game I've done.
Yeah, sorry.
As you flick through these cards, you'll find like an enemy. Yeah, flick through. Feel free. Actual weapon cards.
Yeah. So you independently did this yourself. So how long have you been working on this project for?
This has taken me 6 months to do this one, roughly. Just drawing and stuff like that. And my friend John, he's done the story for it, and he does like sort of horror stories and stuff like that. He's coming down tomorrow. So I kind of went to him and said, I've got this mechanic, I've got this idea for a game where you flick through and you have these cubes. I need a dark story. But I don't want it to be obvious. I want it to be a bit different and original.
Yeah.
So he's come up with this story, which is it's a very dark story, and it's a lot of issues.
It almost has like Junji Ito vibes, that mangaka, horror mangaka. He's got that same sort of like disturbing elemental style to it. That sort of the pointillism. It looks cracking.
That's basically his thing, and he comes up some of the bosses and stuff. He comes up with nothing's obvious. Like you'll have like bosses like.
Okay, let's have a look at the bosses.
Yeah, I mean, the bosses are in different. Let's take another set of cards out. They've all got different bosses. Let's just try to find the bosses in another set. I think if we go further up, they get a little bit more strange. So you have boss cards like the Forked Tongue and accusations of hypocrisy. So these are not obvious bosses. These are sort of more mental bosses. So bosses you'll be fighting on your own. So you'll be fighting your own guilt and stuff at certain times as well.
Yeah.
So it's not as your obvious trolls. There's no trolls and all that sort of stuff in there.
Yeah, it's more obscure, more mentally disturbing.
Yes.
That's what you want. You want to make the play to feel uncomfortable.
Yes, that's exactly.
That's smashing, Chris. Honestly, we were genuinely so excited to see the content of your work, because the fact it was independently done as well, and you're like, I've been working on this project and this is what I've been doing. It was fantastic to see that. Honestly, I'm so impressed with all of this. Like, it's just so different and unique in its own way.
Yeah, I hope people like it. It's a dark game, it's a strange game, but and the mechanics are different, because I don't know huge amounts of board games, so I just come up with my own kind of mechanics. So we've got the cubes that do certain things. We've got like special cubes in here as you go on that do like different things. I can't really say anything because it kind of spoils the story.
Exactly, you can only say a little bit, but that's standard. But you've given us enough to know like it just looks cool, and we're just going to have a nice fun night in. That's it. That's cracking. found another amazing publisher, Bombyx, and the main publisher's name is Jan.
Yeah, my name is Jan, yeah.
Yes. Hello, Jan. Can you tell us a little bit about your game Lure and Nicodemus and Codex?
And Garden Nation in English.
Petit. How do you say this one? Petit Poupelles.
Petit Peuple, it's in French.
Yes.
In English, it will be Garden Nation.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
Can you explain a little bit about the games then?
Which one do you want first?
Really, Lure. It just stands out from the rest because it's black and white. It looks really nice and sharp. The illustrations are really pretty.
Yeah.
So could you tell us a bit about it?
Yes, of course. The darkness of the pier and the adventurers that you will play are prepared to that. So you will create a kind of company with these different kind of companions, and each of them has got powers.
Yeah.
And to activate them, you will roll die, large ones and small ones, and depending on the result of them, you could activate or not their different effects.
Oh.
You are looking for birds of light.
Yeah.
You are looking for fireflies to get your different path enlightened, and you try not to make them die. And depending on the result, you can also move on the map. So it's a combination of cards and map, all in white and black.
It's honestly stunning. It really stands out because most games are all in colour. This one really stands out for being black and white, and that's really nice.
Cool.
Has this been released then?
Yes.
Already? Yeah.
I think it's available in England.
Yeah.
And all of these three and the four will be available on Board Game Arena, for example, too.
Yeah.
So easy to play. This one is available in England, and these three ones will be available at the end of summer. This one you will be in a kind of factory.
Yes, we saw.
Very strange factories. We're recreating dream machines, and all of these machines can be activated with different effects. So you can. It's a kind of race between. It's a two-player because it's a two-player game.
Yeah.
So the one of you will reach 20 points. Win the game, and to win the game you have to place these broken machines on the bric-a-brac, and in a second time you have to repair them thanks to different resources.
Yeah.
But when they are here, your opponent can do it before you. So you have to first place the machine, then it is the turn of your opponent. So if the opponent can repair it before you, you will lose the points. So you have to calculate when it's important and when it's a good time to place it.
Not just all offense, it's all about holding back. I mean, when it's the right time to create. Yeah.
Yes.
That's perfect.
It's kind of race.
Yeah, no, I love it. And even this Codex has its own completely different
golden
style.
one.
It's stunning, like just that alone is beautiful. Can you explain to us a little bit about this new game that you got here called Cloud Foxes?
This is our second game, Cloud Foxes. So in Cloud Foxes, the humans have taken over the floating lands of the Cloud Foxes and the trade routes, and now the Cloud Foxes are going to fight back. So we each play a different clan of Cloud Foxes. Here's the green clan, and we're going to take turns at placing tiles onto the board. Just like that. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the strongest presence around each of these islands. So as you can see here, the blue team has 5, the yellow team has 3, green team have 2. So the blue team will get 5 points at the end of the game. The green team will get, yellow team will get 2 points at the end of the game. But that might change because if we put this one out, now the greens are in the lead. So you've got several islands that you're competing for, so it's area control. Also, you're going to try and control these ports. If at the end of the game the blue team has this port, that's a fruit port, and if they have tokens that have fruit on them, they'll get points for their fruit as well. So we're going to carry on like that. So the way you place your pieces onto the board is you roll your dice, and I got a 2 and a 3 and a 4. So I can go 2, 4, 2, 3, 4, and I can place a piece just there. And the piece I can place is any one of my 4 tiles. So I choose which one I want to place, and all of these tiles are going to do different things. So
They look so
I'll
nice.
place that one out,
Lovely.
and I'm trying to get that island. But they've also got powers on as well, so this one can attack now. It's going to attack that piece because it's got a double melee on. Some of them fortify, they become stronger. Some of them give you extra points. Some of them heal. So each of the ones that you place out are going to do a different thing. So you place your piece out, you do the action. You may get some win tokens as well, which you can use to change the values on your dice. But really what you want to do is you want to get your stronger pieces out. So I can use my 5 rolls to go at this area of the board, or I can use my 5 rolls to get my stronger pieces out, strength 4, strength 1. So that's how you're playing off your dice. Stronger position or stronger piece. It's entirely up to you.
That's lovely.
You keep going until the board is full, and you count up your scores.
Yeah, that was a lovely explanation there, man. So what was your name again?
My name's Martin.
Martin, that was cracking. So you're part of the publishing company that do it. So are you
That's
part
right,
of the
yes.
invention of the game?
We design and publish the games ourselves. Snapshot was our first game that went to Kickstarter at the end of last year, very successful. And this will be our second game going to Kickstarter later this year.
Yeah, usually very pleasing. Thank you for telling us about the game. It's absolutely lovely.